In a faraway land, or perhaps a new timeline reborn, life has begun anew. A world where humans adopt the powers and abilities of Pokemon and even live alongside them. It is unsure how this even began. Maybe a change in destiny some millennium ago? Whatever it was, we find ourselves in this new generation of ReBurst Evolution's world. This may all seem a bit strange at first. Seeing humans able to summon lightning bolts or break down boulders with a mere kick. You may even see humans able to cleanly cut down bamboo sticks with nothing more than their hands. Perhaps seeing a passing hero turning his whole body to steel. To the masses of this world, this has become nothing more than a common sight. Because of these new changes in evolutionary development, humanity has evolved rather quickly. The Stone Age rapidly turned into a Steel Age thanks to the people who are able to use Steel and Rock-type Pokemon power. We find ourselves in the small village of Melania, a civilization in the middle of some foreign region, currently in a sort of advanced medieval age of development. Knights and warriors live among the common folk with their various powers and skill sets, and a few of the commoners even become fine mages and magicians through their natural gifts or learned skills. This land is under the rule of a king named King Gygas, a wise king with the strength of about 1,000 men. Some even rumor about him pulling his castle into the region to begin a life anew. It sounds somewhat similar to an ancestor Pokemon. It is not uncommon to see Poke-humans of different types going about their day-to-day lives. You might see a Ferrothorn adventurer spending their days at the Syvleon fairy bars, drinking the days away with their hard-earned gold. Warriors fending off beasts and monsters in hunting runs. They fight, love, grow, and become merry. But though they may grow together and sometimes fight side by side, they strangely can't do one thing: procreate. No, I'm not about to turn this into some sort of nuts for safe work nonsense. You see, Pokemon can only breed with other Pokemon of a similar egg group. Monster group Pokemon can only breed with monster grouped Pokemon, while mineral group Pokemon can only breed with mineral types. Of course, there are some exceptions, such as the legendary Pokemon being unable to breed at all, and the Ditto-type Pokemon are able to breed with just about any type egg group. This aspect has been carried over with many of the ReBurst humans in this age. Many of them are not able to have children if they do not share an egg group. The Ditto tribe had been lost to time, so procreation could not be as abundant as modern society today. Though this does not inhibit the growth of the world's population in the slightest. Nonetheless, I wanted to explore a certain couple in the making. Gaia, the dancer, and her lover Aegis, the knight. They are the descendants of a Gardevoir and an Aegislash, and thus carry on a few traditions and abilities their Pokemon namesake has. Aegis was a fierce knight, able to strike down foes with ease. Gaia was strong in telepathy and other psychic-based abilities, making her a fine mage in the making. Their fateful meeting was nothing more than sheer coincidence. After a grand victory in war, the King Gygas called for a banquet to thank all the warriors for their hard work, the best food and the strongest of drinks for his warriors. During this banquet, Gaia and a few others were hired for the entertainment. There, Aegis was standing from the far end of the hall when his eyes fell upon our green-haired beauty. One could say it was love at first sight. For this knight in golden armor, their love bloomed and grew as time passed, developing till it would peak with the wish of a child of their own. Though, I'm sure you remember what I said earlier about how different ReBurst humans will not be able to breed with each other if they don't have the compatible egg groups. And that so happened to be the predicament with Our Lady Gardevoir and her nightly Aegislash. Gaia was of the amorphous egg type, while Aegis was of the mineral egg type. Normally, a couple of incompatible egg types could procreate as much as they could, and could not bear a child in the end. Ironically, a blessing to some of the more passionate ReBurst humans, but to our couple, it was a heartbreaking curse. Unable to share the love properly, most would break up and part ways, but Aegis and Gaia weren't those types of people. They had been through worse in their line of work, so they would not falter so easily. Through their sheer tenacity and an unbreakable bond of love, they tried to bear a child over and over, a seemingly impossible goal, but they had eventually done something incredible. 3 years into their marriage life, and 9 months after that, they had a child. A little baby girl they could call their own. Hardships would always befall them, and yet here they were, able to create this miracle. Joyous day and the glistening night at the end of their journey. A gem in the strange chaos of life. Their days could never be more joyous with their newborn child they had named Raya. Those joyful initial days of breaking a lifelong curse were only fleeting, sadly. Only a year after her birth, Raya was growing ill and unwell. She wouldn't eat or drink, always growing restless at night as she was stricken with this unknown ailment. Numerous doctors did their best to help, but all gave the same answer. They don't know what was wrong. Gaia and Aegis were at a loss of what to do. Raya was growing weaker every day, and the cure for her condition only grew more like an non-existent miracle. Then one day, as they were returning from a checkup with the Blissey medical ward, a strange merchant approached them, claiming to know the reason Raya was so ill-struck. The merchant explained that Raya was not a normal child. Her body was incomplete because of their incompatible egg types. Gaia and Aegis knew as much, but what could this foreign merchant do for them? A merchant proclaimed he had an item that could help fill in the incomplete parts of Raya, a foreign, futuristic object called the DNA splicers. They would be able to fill in the gaps in Raya's own DNA and make her properly whole. It sounded like a tool of fables, combining DNA to create new life. The merchant assured them it was safe, but they admitted they weren't unsure of the end results. The parents were on their last thread of hope. Would they risk this so-called treatment to have the child live a fruitful life, or let their first and perhaps only child pass away in vain? With braced hearts, they agreed to the merchant's treatment. The merchant spared not a moment to begin their work. Using the strange patterned spikes, they first obtained a little bit of DNA from both the mother and father, then proceeded to activate the true nature of the spikes. The DNA splicers began their work, fusing the DNA of both Aegis and Gaia and implanting it into the child. Almost immediately, a healthy glow began to return to the child, her hair adopting yellow color as her eyes shone a bright azure blue. A new Pokemon human, one created by two unique parents. Little Raya seemed to have aspects of both the Ralts and Honedge, the merchant dubbing the new life as Raledge. The parents could not have been more joyous. Their child, who was stricken with this strange ailment since birth, was cured and was stronger-willed than ever before. They wanted to thank the merchant for the miracle he had performed, but he was nowhere to be found. The townsfolk neither heard of a masked merchant entering the village either. Whoever that man was, the parents could only thank them in spirit. Years passed, and the little Raledge began to grow and was bountiful with energy, always wanting to test her strength with her father, and trying to replicate the same magic skills her mother uses. She was enamored by the tales of adventure her father would go on, and soon wished to become an adventurer herself. By the time she turned 12, she was getting ready to set off on her first adventure. Leaving home at this age was an important moment for many children. It was a rite of passage where the children would begin their growth into adulthood. But that journey would be a tale for another time. And thus begins the journey for our little fusion Pokemon, Raledge. I have to say, this was quite the big investment I made, in both time and money sense. Rest in peace, my wallet. To begin things off, you might be able to tell I'm talking a bit more fluently now. I'm trying something different out this time, writing out the foreword instead of freestyling like I did last time with the ruined Registeel video, so let me know how it sounds. First and foremost, I have to thank all these artists for helping me make this a reality. From the small scenes to the original characters, I doubt I would have not achieved an effective video without them. As usual, the original Pokemon sprite idea goes to the respective artists that contributed to Pokemon Infinite Fusion. Anyways, let's get down to the basics, shall we? Pokemon Infinite Fusion is as the name sounds. You are able to fuse all and any two Pokemon with varying degrees of results. I wanted to turn this concept into a ReBurst universe, and thus this fusion universe was created. I could have chosen a billion other fusions, but I really wanted to try and do something new for this ReBurst universe. A 3-stage evolution Pokemon seemed ideal, though this meant both Pokemon needed to have 3 stages of evolution. Having recently played Pokemon Y, I became very fond of an Aegislash as I caught, calling her Excalibur since it would turn into a grand golden sword when fully evolved. That covered one part of the fusion, but what about the other? I ended up choosing Gardevoir because her final fused evolution looked really cool, though I can't really show it to you now as it would be a spoiler to Raledge's final evolution. Unlike with Registeel in the Ruined universe, I simply documented the events that transpired. In this universe, I had a bit of a hand in making this fusion universe. Usually one should not do this, as it could have drastic effects in the world that it's affected in. But needn't worry, as only the child of Gaia and Aegis was affected by this phenomenon. Though I will probably avoid doing this sort of stuff in the future, as the consequences could be very wild and varied. I know I'm dropping a lot of information in this video, but I will make another video in the future to hopefully explain all my current universes and any questions you could have. For now, let's follow along Raledge's journey and the other universes to come. Till next time, I bid thee adieu.